Welcome to This Explainer, where today we are going to unpack a truly fascinating sociological text. We're looking at how humanity's ancient, completely biological need for safety has evolved, or, well, maybe devolved is the better word, into modern systems of total control. So if you've ever felt that slight bit of hesitation when a shiny new piece of technology asks for all your personal data in the name of keeping you safe, you're going to find the source material we're breaking down today absolutely illuminating.
I mean, we all naturally desire safety, right? It's literally hardwired right into our biology. But as we navigate this heavily digitized world of ours, we really need to explore a rather startling paradigm shift presented in our source text. I want you to keep this specific question in the back of your mind as we go through this. What if the modern mechanisms promising us all this security are actually doing something entirely different? Are we actually buying safety, or are we just paying with our autonomy? So let's kick things off right at the beginning with part one, the foundation of security. To really grasp the modern illusion of security, we have to understand its biological roots. At its very core, true security isn't about complex passwords, firewalls, or, surveillance cameras on every corner. According to the text, it is the fundamental ingredient that allows us to form trusting human bonds without everything falling apart. It's the baseline feeling that gives human beings peace of mind. Without it, relationships and groups simply dissolve. It's basically the social glue of our entire species. And what's amazing is how naturally this sense of security scales up. It starts way down at the micro level. Think of a couple forming a bond. That foundational family unit relies entirely on security to perpetuate the species. Then, as you expand that outward, it organically creates the wider community. That exact same invisible thread of security is ultimately what maintains a whole community's continuity and cohesion over thousands of years. It's an entirely natural process of humans simply relying on one another.
Moving right along to part two, the historic trade-off.
But here's the catch, and observers of human behavior have noted this forever. This organic security, it has never been entirely free. Society is essentially a place where an exchange is always made, and security always takes something in return. For tens of thousands of years, living safely in a community meant giving up just a little bit of your individual freedom. You had to align with shared norms, maybe suppressing some independent desires just to ensure you fit into the cohesive whole. Now look at the stark contrast between our biological past and our highly technological present. In the past, under natural security, if someone endangered the group, that specific individual was behaviorally corrected or isolated. It was highly localized, right? But in our modern era, security is mechanized, it's monetized. Instead of dealing with one dangerous individual, the entire population is treated as a potential risk. We are coordinated and kept under continuous control. The scale of the trade-off has fundamentally shifted.
Which brings us to part three, the modern fear machine.
This dramatic shift to mass control didn't just happen out of nowhere. It requires a specific catalyst to keep populations demanding it. The source material outlines this precise, almost self-sustaining loop. Let's walk through it. It starts with step one. The media highly publicizes extreme, often statistically rare dangers. This builds a forced social awareness. That leads directly to step two. Widespread panic and fear are generated. Once a population is sufficiently terrified, step three happens naturally. People actively demand safety. They practically beg authorities for solutions, which perfectly sets up step four, allowing authorities to implement sweeping new control measures over everyone, all under the guise of providing that exact security we just asked for.
All right, let's dive into part four, technology and total control.
Once that public demand for safety is cemented, technology steps in and completely rewires our daily routines. Completely ordinary elements of modern life are suddenly loaded with massive control mechanisms. I mean, using the internet used to feel so free. Now it's just a web of constant verification protocols. Driving your own car? That's moving toward integrated cameras monitoring your facial movements. Banking, air travel? These completely mundane actions now require you to pass through expansive securitization databases. They aren't just protecting you anymore, they are actively collecting, organizing, and verifying your data at every single turn. And here is the absolute kicker. This technological obstruction of our fundamental freedoms isn't just an accidental byproduct of human progress. According to the text, behind these heavily publicized dangers, there are almost always massive financial or ideological interests at play. These interests manifest their power precisely through this widespread control. They're basically using our natural biological desire for safety as their ultimate leverage. That takes us to our final section, Part 5, the painted fence. So, what actually happens when these vast data-driven systems wedge themselves into everyday life? Well, the source material argues a concept we can call the third system effect. Remember that organic, natural bond between people we talked about at the start? Now, artificial systems interpose themselves directly between individuals or even between a person and reality itself. They insert themselves so deeply that providing genuine organic safety actually becomes secondary. In fact, these third-party systems actively jam the natural generation of security, making us completely dependent on the system rather than on each other.
The author leaves us with this incredibly striking, almost haunting metaphor regarding the constant promise of modern security. They say, the fence is painted on the outside. Inside is the leopard. It just perfectly encapsulates the whole illusion. On the outside, the system looks vibrant, protective, and perfectly designed to keep all the bad things away. But on the inside, the system itself harbors a predator, the complete loss of freedom and the imposition of total mechanized surveillance. So to summarize the core argument of our source text today, what began tens of thousands of years ago as the most natural, necessary biological function for community survival has been totally distorted. It has literally been transformed into a simple, highly valuable currency. This currency of security is now traded, managed, and manipulated by massive interests to direct entire populations. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want you to genuinely think about this final, provocative thought. The next time you encounter a shiny new modern convenience, a new mandatory verification check, or a new camera on the street designed exclusively for your safety, try to look past the painted fence. Ask yourself, are these systems truly protecting you, or are they just collecting you? Thanks for exploring this fascinating text with me, and definitely keep questioning the world around you.